Hey, folks. Thanks so much for joining us this week on This Week in Crypto Philanthropy. We have a very special segment for you here coming up. As we were talking about earlier, we want to talk about giving season and the partners supporting us along this journey. So, what we've done is we've invited one of our good friends from Bonk, Cailin, who's going to be joining me here in one quick second. Bonk, for those of you who are in the meme coin trenches, you may have heard of it, but in case you haven't, they've actually been doing a lot of fantastic things for charitable organizations, and we want to highlight and spotlight what they've been up to. So without further ado, everyone, please join me in welcoming Cailin to the show. Cailin, how you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure.
I mean, couldn't be more thrilled. I think we're
Uh,
super stoked to have you. And obviously, the theme of today, Bonk. What, just to kick things off, right? Jumping right in. Bonk, I've known about you guys for some time, but I know our nonprofit audience may be just getting up to speed on crypto. They maybe have heard or seen the logo, but if you wouldn't
mhm.
mind, maybe introduce yourself, tell us about you, and then would love to dig into the history of Bonk and talk about all the cool things you've been up to.
Absolutely. I mean, meme coins are on everyone's minds right now. And so I'm happy to tell you a little bit about Bonk, who I think we're the original Solana meme coin. But my name is Kaylin. I've been in the Solana ecosystem since 2021. I am a creative first rather than someone who comes to this from being interested in cryptocurrency or Web3. I was really interested in improving systems that no longer seem to serve a global good. So I think, in the sense of talking about philanthropy and care, I that's exactly why I found myself in the space that I did. I am not a technical person. I am not a developer. I truly came from nonprofits. And I'm sort of like a token Coinbase dad amongst the group. I'm not a degenerate by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a day trader. I'm someone who sees the work that is going on in the Solana ecosystem, and specifically my friends at Bonk, what they're building. And I'm just really excited about the way that they care for their community. So to segue into like, what is Bonk? They are a social layer and a community meme coin with deep integrations as a utility token across a wide base of applications and protocols in the Web3 ecosystem, which is a long way of saying they're a great community. They have a lot of applications across, like I said, across Solana, and they came out at a time when Solana was maybe in, to be dramatic, like their darkest hour. Um, there, a lot of people remember the FTX fallout from 2022. That's right,
Mhm.
and that I think was in like October, November. It was all looking pretty bleak. So people who had devoted all of their time, energy, money, care into building something we're on the brink of losing everything based on a few bad apples. And so the core contributors of Bonk were saying, all right, well, we can make this better. And we can maybe make crypto fun again, even, and not make it feel like the depths of despair. And so on Christmas 2022, they dropped a care package, if you will, to some weary Solana community members. And that's kicked off what has been a really great run for the past few years. There's no
Amazing.
true team. I mean, like, there's no true team. There are contributors. There is a DAO. There is no like structured C-suite. It is a community of people working together.
Love that. I think that's a perfect preamble to set the stage because I
Great.
think our audience, maybe they've seen your logo, which has a very cute dog. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
more to that in
The
a
Solana
second,
dog
but
coin.
exactly. And it's really topical, right? Because
Yeah.
a lot of time people in the nonprofit sector, they think meme coins, they think
Mm-hmm.
traders, they think people who are excited for crypto bull markets, but maybe they don't understand or haven't met you guys yet and gotten to know that community element to
Yeah.
crypto, which I think is one of those kind of underlying factors that people always talk about. They're like, it's a community, but it's also an asset. And like, how do you marry those two? And what do those two things mean, even independent of one another? Like you said, you guys came
Yeah.
about at a time where folks really needed to kind of batten down the hatches and find something fun to engage with the ecosystem.
Right.
And I know that you've had a very charitable kind of tilt to the organization and you've done a lot. So, I mean, being somebody who's not a degenerate, not technical, somebody like us, right? Can you
Yeah.
talk a bit about how you merge the world of like what seems like a very steep learning curve,
Mm.
crypto, all these things, but then bring it back to reality and also do some good with that?
Yeah, I think the back to reality is why you get into blockchain technology in the first place. We're trying to get away from systems that don't necessarily help uh, do as much global good as they possibly can. And when you get into those spaces, you have these like fast, global, transparent transactions. And so something like Bonk is saying like, yeah, we're game for that, and we can create a lot of onboarding opportunities to get someone closer to that. Something as simple as like Bonkmark, which is a holiday card you can send. And so you'll set up your systems, like whether that's a wallet or whatever it may be for the first time, perhaps, and send a Christmas card or a Mother's Day card. And that will get you started in this ecosystem, and finding opportunities like that. Or even there's another project, Moonwalk Fitness, which is like a tracking, like a walking tracking app, which I think everyone has something like that on their phone. But now, you put your money where your mouth is. You do a little matching with friends, and if you meet your step count for the day, you make money back on that, right? So this was something relatively simple in concept, but allows people that have maybe never even thought of touching Web3 or crypto before,
Hmm.
to get in there. And Bonk is at the core of all of that, saying like, yeah, come on in. We are happy to help. So when we think about like the community term, that's what I see Bonk doing best. Not only is it onboarding someone who's maybe never been a part of crypto before, but also onboarding people that don't know what opportunities are available on Solana.
Totally. And I want to go a step further with that because I
Yeah.
think you're doing a really good job of taking folks who maybe are just dabbling in crypto or they're
Hmm.
curious and then like giving them a place where they can feel like they're participating in an ecosystem, they're meeting other people, and they're
Yeah.
ingratiating themselves to an audience that maybe they didn't, have before, or just
Hmm.
making friends along the way. Nonprofits, I feel like, are very similar, right? They often ask the folks at the giving block, like, how do we meet folks in the space? How do we talk to
Yeah.
the people that are actually, either making the donations themselves or creating the communities of people that make those donations? Would love to get a sense how you and the team think through charitable activations. Like, how do you do it the right way where it's like,
Yeah.
sure, you could go and send money to a nonprofit, but you guys always take it a step further without, spilling the beans and
we,
stealing your thunder. Like, I know
we
you've
do
done a
take it a
bunch of
step further.
great activations. Yeah, exactly. Don't want to steal your thunder, but tell us a bit about like what you've been up to.
No, I think when people think crypto, they're always like, oh, rangers in Thailand or wherever it may be. And that's sure, there's definitely going to be some sort of party. But I think there's other opportunities to do some good, put your name out there, and have it still like come back to us, and the name in the space. Meaning, we most recently did a walk, a Guinness World Record breaking walk in during Korea Blockchain Week, with one of our core contributors who walked, I want to say, 38 dogs at once for a kilometer. And that is bringing focus to the Korean adoption complications, right? There are some stigmas around dog ownership, and especially adopted dog ownership in Korea, and then how to get dogs out of gnarly situations and into loving
Mhm.
homes. And so it's easy to say, oh, all these crypto degens, they just want to make money and go crazy. And it's like, no, they want to use opportunity for good. They want to take, like, you guys know the stats that like crypto people are incredibly generous. So if we have this access, if we have this agency, and opportunity, why not use it for good? So that's one example of putting like some real world activations out there for like to bring it back, both to our own community and the people that are part of Bonk, but to the world at large, and particularly to animal causes. Right, you're not going to be a dog token and not
Yeah.
want to support animals. And so we'll have dogs walk in our fashion shows where the merch goes back to charitable organizations. Bonk does a lot of matching, like often 100% matching with what is given to these charitable organizations. And that's all just built into what we're building. That's just on the back end. No questions asked. We're matching.
It's a phenomenal example of, I think, like systematic and diligent thinking behind these campaigns where it's like, it's
Mm-hmm.
so easy to maybe just send a donation or to do something that's
Right.
low lift. And we encourage that activity. But I think you guys are so successful because the community recognizes that there's some like thoughtful thinking behind it. And they're like, oh, wow, like dog fashion show. Okay. Like that's something that somebody's going to be interested in. Like, of course.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the thematic alignment around animal causes, given your
Yes.
mascot, given your community's involvement with animals, I think is super cool. I wanted to actually ask you one quick question,
Hmm.
which is to say, like, as far as you see the ecosystem trends or maybe things that Bonk's going to be doing in the future, I feel like you guys execute these things really well. Like your merch is really fun, your community engagement's really fun. Maybe if you can, is there anything you want to tease out to our audience and even maybe let them know, like, where can they find you guys and interact with you more?
Oh, wow. What a good question. I know. I mean, it is a decentralized organization, so it definitely is going to be online. We're not going to be like post up at a particular like brick and mortar storefront. So I
Mhm.
would suggest finding us on X, on Instagram, on we're trying to get a TikTok rolling a little bit more these days. Who isn't, right? But I think more than that, we will find ourselves at crypto events where we have had, like, I think, for example, the Solana Breakpoint that happened last year, there was like 22K in donations that are all being like
Right.
matched, right? That's a huge number when you go to these
Mhm.
crypto conferences. So if you're trying to find us out in the world, it's going to be at places like that for now, but certainly breaking out of the mold and looking for more opportunities and partners to say, like, yes, get in here with us. And we're also like happy to hold a hand along the way and be a part of the onboarding, whether that is someone who is just wants to donate to a good cause, or whether that's someone coming over from another chain or from more traditional like Web 2 spaces
Mhm.
saying like I really want to get into this. We have grants, we have team members. There's one of our team members that recently said we're a reverse mullet. It's a party in the front. We're having a great time, but it's business in the back. We got some stuff. We are working back here. And so that's when I think about, I love being a part of this organization because, or not a decentralized conglomerate of humans,
Right.
um, because of that work hard, play hard mentality.
That's amazing. I have one more question for you. And
Hit
I
it.
think it just, yeah, I think your wealth of experience, you've seen the sort of more traditional nonprofit sector, you've seen crypto. You're not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily a degen. I think our audience would definitely relate to you very well.
Yeah.
If you if you had one tip or one thing that's topical that comes to mind when you think about nonprofits, like if you were in maybe their shoes because you've
Mm,
seen the other side, you're in crypto,
yeah.
is there anything you would tell them or say like, hey, here's how you can do a great job working with crypto communities, or maybe just a learning
Mm,
that you found success in from your guys' past, activations that have done super well? I'm always fishing for new, exciting ways to
weighs
educate.
in. I would
Yeah.
say, especially like I came the job I was in before my very first crypto job was like a 11-person nonprofit, right? And I'm running marketing. I'm the only one there running marketing. I understand what it is to have no resources. You just got to
Right.
get the job done, and hopefully have a really good end of year giving campaign, right? I get it. When it comes to stepping into crypto spaces, it's getting easier and easier because more and more people are interested, right? I think we had the highest sort of searchability for meme coins in the past few weeks, right? Google's going crazy. Everyone wants to know more. What I would suggest is find one person on your team who's like, you know what? I'm kind of interested in that. Maybe I should look into crypto for our whatever nonprofit we are. Um, and then let that person dive deep. Let them go on X. Let them listen, like jump into too many TikTok lives. Learn about like give them the reins to learn what is essentially a new language for a lot of people. When I first stepped into this space, I was like, I have to learn so many terms. I'm looking up so much, but the only way that you can get better at this is to do that. At the same time, there are a lot of very generous people with their time, their attention, their money in Web3 spaces. They're thrilled to have you here. We're not like, get out. There's not enough for, like, the whole philosophy is there is enough for everyone. So
Mhm.
if there are people who are interested in learning more, definitely get out there and do your own research, as they say. But also feel free to reach out because people are like, for the most part, they're not like, well, there's scammers out there, but there are people who mean well and they want to find opportunities to onboard. And Bonk has everything from like a Web3 savings account to a Web3 card to sending the Bonk miss to walking over like the walking apps. There's so many ways to sort of start coming into this space. Um, but the person to person also helps. So get online, ask a couple questions.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, the through line there, it's so I think indicative and aligned with crypto. It's like
Hmm.
There's plenty of room for everyone. Don't be shy
Yeah.
about researching. There are friends here. We want to help out, and we want to see folks get as excited as we are for the industry
Yeah.
that we care so much about, right? And then I think you were going for something there. It
Yeah,
just
I
makes
was
so
ready. I
much
was like,
sense to me.
yes. No, but I think
Take
the
it
other
away.
thing too is that when you see an organization like, I mean, again, I'm a normie and I'm looking at Bonk being like, oh, they're committed to Bonk for Paws. They're committed to this World Wildlife charity round. Like, they're not so bad. They're not so scary. They want to do good.
Yep.
People want to do good things. And so allow them to do good things, even if they are just a PFP on the internet. Like there's still a person behind that PFP.
I think that's the quote. Let them do good
That's
things, even if they're just a PFP on the internet. Couldn't have said it better myself.
pull it, title it, let's go.
Amazing. Cailin, I want to say thank you so much for both
Happily.
Nick and myself and the whole family at This Week in Crypto Philanthropy. Any parting words or words of wisdom, plugs, anything that we can offer to you as a final word?
Let's bonk for one thing, and then also just thank you for all the work that you are doing because you are providing such an opportunity to give back, and this is the time of year that we want to give back, and we should give back all the time, but especially at this time of the year. And to it's great that a bunch of people who have a lot of privilege are able to spread that around. So let us all give from our hearts.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Cailin from Bonk. Find Bonk on socials and check them out. They're doing phenomenal things, and we are so thankful and thrilled to have them as a partner. Stay tuned for more exciting things that we're going to be cooking up in the future, and we'll see you next week.